artists, it's me again. If you are watching this video, it is probably because you finished making your Larry the Line snakes. I promised you the next thing you are going to do is make Larry's home, and we are going to paint where he lives. Snakes live outside typically. Larry loves to go outside, and he loves slithering in the grass because it's nice and cool, and sometimes when the sun comes out he can warm himself up. So we're going to make that for our Larry the Lines. Let me show you. Alright artists, so at your table there is a piece of paper with your name on it. That name, it needs to go on the back of our paper because, artists, that is to make sure that we know that this paper is ours, but we want the world to see our beautiful artwork from the front. And if our name is covering that or peeking out of that, it might distract people from how beautiful your artwork is. No need to fear. I will make sure to put your name all fancy and beautiful on the bottom of your art piece so people will know it is yours. You have tempera paint for you to use 3 colors. Tempera paint is wonderful because if it gets on your clothes, it will wash out. So if you get a little messy today, that's a-okay. When we think of grass, we think of the color green. But grass is not just one color green. There's lots of different other colors or different types of greens we can find on grass. So the other colors I have for you today are white and yellow. Yellow is going to make our green even brighter, and our white is going to make our green even lighter. They're 2 different things. Let me show you what I mean. So you're going to take your one brush, and it's okay if we double dip because we're not sharing these paints with our friends. They are just our paint. So that's okay if we dabble in here and dabble in there. But let's not try to make our yellow into a completely different color. Let's mix on our paper. So what we're going to do is you're going to start in your white first because your white is the easiest to get dirty. So if we start with it first, it's not going to get as dirty as it would if we did it last. You're going to take your yellow. Oops, losing my mind. So you are going to take your white, a pretty good amount, and you are going to place it all over your paper. Now notice, even though I'm putting a good amount of paint, I'm not putting tons and tons. That's because if you have too much paint, it's going to make your paper super wet and crinkly and wrinkly. And what we want to make sure we do with our paper is that we just spread out the paint nice and evenly and thinly. You can always add more if you have less. It's hard to take away if you have too much. It's easier to add than to take away in this case. So my artist, now the next lightest color is actually my yellow. So the next color I'm going to dip in is my yellow because, again, it's okay if my white gets into my yellow, and it might be a little trickier if my green got into my yellow. So we're going to then go to our yellow. We're going to take a decent amount. I'm going to spread that onto my paper. Gonna kind of wipe off my brush on the paper a little bit. And then the last color I'm gonna go into is my green. I can keep going into my green for this. I'm gonna dip in, and now I'm gonna start painting with my brush. I'm gonna start dragging it all over, and I'm gonna kind of let it mix into my white and spread that out. But I don't want to mix too much because I don't want to get rid of my lighter color. Go into my yellow. It's okay if you go a little off the paper because you should be on top of your messy mat. Go back into my green. And I'm just gonna spread. Now, first grade, I know you're paintbrush experts because you painted with me last year. Notice how I'm not pushing the paintbrush down as hard as I can. It's on its tippy toes, it's on its ballerina tippy toes, and it's dancing on its tippy toes. Ballerinas, remember, don't scoot on their patooties, so we're gonna make sure to just have our paintbrush dancing on its tippy toes. All right, artists? Notice how I'm not over mixing the colors. They're still staying different colors. If I want to add more green to certain areas, I can add more green. This is going to make it so my grass looks really bright and happy. Make sure to get to all the edges of your paper. It's okay if you get it a little bit on the messy mat, but try your best to not make too crazy of messes. Let's see. Make sure to get the edges of the paper. Oh, I noticed I'm gonna go maybe off my messy mat, so I'm gonna push it forward now, my painting. Maybe a little to the side, so I can get up here. And I'm just gonna fill it up till I don't see any more of the white of the paper. I'm painting in only one direction, in this case from my left to my right. And I'm doing that because if I started to go this way, my colors would start to mix. It's much easier to not overmix your colors by going in one direction. And my artist, I'm gonna hold this up for you the best I can. If you notice where my yellow was, some of it stayed yellow, but some of it made a very bright green. And where my white is, right over here, it made a very light green, but it doesn't look right in your face like a bright light. It kind of looks soft. It looks softer, like a softer green. Great job, my artists.